I want to talk about a train, one that's headed straight for us, and the very real possibility that in a matter of years, not decades, the only two rail tunnels running under the Hudson River into Manhattan will become inoperable. You heard me right, definitely closed for repairs. And so I am working, and I'll talk about this in a minute, on getting new tunnels under the tracks. But when I do that, it has special relevance to Orange and Rockland counties because we can, if we do this right, we can get a one-track, a one-stop ride from Orange County, from Rockland County, right into Manhattan without having to change or transfer. And that is a great opportunity for this county and for Rockland County. So let me talk about the whole thing. First, the tunnels are old, they're over 100 years old, and Sandy corroded them. So we're going to have to build new tunnels under the Hudson, or all of commerce from Maine to Virginia would stop because these are the only tunnels that go right through. They're deteriorating because salt and chloride got into them during Sandy. They're also 100 years old. And this sounds like a New York City specific issue, but it's not. It's one that would impact commuters throughout the lower Hudson Valley, including Orange and Rockland counties. Just imagine the busiest rail lines in the country stopped, with thousands of commuters from Orange and Rockland stranded. Everyone west of the Hudson would be left without a way into or out of Manhattan and New York City by train. That would be cataclysmic for commuters, for New York, for New Jersey, for the country. If one or both of the tunnels were forced to go online, we're talking about throwing the world's largest monkey wrench into the gears of New York's economy and its commuter rails that lower Hudson Valley residents use every day. So I talked about this general issue in New York City yesterday. But here I want to talk about what it means for Hudson Valley commuters. For years, there's been a general consensus we need to build these new tunnels. And that's because there'll be no way around the problem, or around the Hudson River for that matter. This is known as the Gateway Project. While Gateway has a lot of moving parts to it, it hinges on the basic fact that we have to start construction of these two tunnel tubes going from the west side of the Hudson under the river and into New York's Penn Station. And of course, the question comes to mind, who's paying for this massive, expensive project? And I am in line with the governor, both governors of New York and New Jersey, Governors Cuomo and Christie, that we ought to get the federal government to pay as much as possible for this, because after all, it's a federal issue. It affects the whole Northeast economy, from Maine to Virginia. If we can't find tunnels going under the Hudson, it'll just slow down our economy. It could create a recession in the Northeast and then a recession in the whole country. So, I've asked that we establish under one umbrella something called the Gateway Development Corporation, where the governors of New York and New Jersey, the head of Amtrak, the head of the Federal Department of Transportation, the New York City mayor, the head of the PATH lines, and the head of the MTA be all on this corporation. And if we had this corporation, everyone could come together, come up with a plan, and come up with funding. But it could do one more thing, and that's why I'm here today. It could pave the way for a one-seat ride that Orange and Rockland County commuters have been begging for years. And that's what I want to do. This would be transformative for commuters west of the Hudson. If you could get on a train here in Middletown and go right into Manhattan, get on a train in Rockland County and go right into Manhattan, that is huge. That will probably raise property values here. That will make it a lot easier for commuters here. It will be just a real shot in the arm to this county. And so what I am asking for as part of the Gateway Project, and we'll be fighting for, is something called the Secaucus Loop. This loop would be built at the Secaucus Transfer Hub and would directly connect trains coming from the main Bergen line, which travels from Orange and Rockland to Secaucus, to these new tunnels traveling from New Jersey to New York. It means commuters would no longer have to change trains, creating a commuting experience which they only need, you guessed it, one seat. They don't have to switch and transfer. It would be a game changer for Orange and Rockland. And it would get rid of one of the most difficult commutes that people have. It's a long commute anyway. When you have to change in New Jersey, it's very difficult. It not only affects people who work every day, what about people who go into the city to shop, concerts, whatever? It makes life a whole lot easier. So, providing this way for our west of Hudson commuters to get to New York City without having to transfer trains has the potential to revolutionize commuting and spur an incredible level of economic development, from construction jobs created when you build the tunnels to the increase in productivity when people are able to spend more time at work. So you can see how the gateway tunnels could have a real effect on Orange and Rockland, because if we make it as part of the plan that we will do the Secaucus Loop and you won't have to stop in Secaucus, then you get the one-stop ride. So I'm fighting to make sure that this will happen. First, we'll set up the Gateway Development Corporation. Second, we're going to find the funding. A lot of it is going to come from Amtrak itself, which the Northeast Corridor makes huge profits. And there's now a move in Washington, Democrats and Republicans together, to say the profits that are made in the Northeast Corridor should be used to help rehabilitate the Northeast Corridor, including building the tunnels. That's a lot of money because Amtrak makes about $500 million a year on those tunnels. And some of that money, as well as other federal dollars, and perhaps some state and local dollars, would be used to build the Secaucus Loop. So, I want to tell the people of Rockland, tell the people here in Orange County, they have a particular interest in seeing that we rebuild these tunnels and rebuild them in the right way so there's a one-stop ride here from Middletown all the way into New York City. With that, let me call on who's first? I guess our mayor or our assemblyman? Assemblyman, please.
Thank you, Senator. You've been a friend, an ally, and a champion for Orange County, and this is only the latest example of it. And the senator, for a short history lesson for the people on that side of the podium, the senator's been fighting for this for 20 years.
Right.
20 years. There was something, an idea that was birthed in 1995 called Access to the Region Core, ARC. And if it weren't for our neighboring governor in New Jersey, in the next couple of years, actually, if I'm not mistaken, we would have already had this one-seat ride and the new tunnels under the Hudson River. So we are looking to right a wrong with the Gateway project and really correct one of the more short-sighted decisions in recent history. And Senator Schumer is really the driving force behind this. So a couple of years ago, I went and visited Amtrak down in New York City, and they want the Secaucus Loop in New Jersey. We need to make sure that all the stakeholders involved, the MTA, New York State, New Jersey, are also on board and committed to making sure the Secaucus Loop is part of Amtrak's Gateway project. And I know Senator Schumer, the champion he is going to bring back federal money. I do believe New York State, New York City, New Jersey, all the stakeholders here should be contributing. This is going to help all of us in the region. Everyone should be contributing. I've worked, as a senator has, to try and build political will behind this project over the last couple of years. I'm going to keep trying to do that at the state level. Senator Schumer has really risen this project to the forefront of people's minds in Washington, D.C. and in New York State, as it needs to be. A few weeks ago, we saw just what will happen on a regular basis if we don't act quickly, when you had waits of literally hours for commuters in those tunnels trying to get to work 3 weeks ago. If we don't do something quickly, that's going to become the norm. The Gateway project is a solution to that, and I want to thank you, Senator, for all your leadership on this issue and so many others.
Thanks, Assembly Member, and I forgot to mention that, and I'm glad he did. I was able, when we had the ARC, which was the old under the tunnel, to get a commitment that we'd have a one-stop ride. I got that commitment from the Port Authority, which was then in charge of the ARC. So I'm going to try to get that same commitment from our development corporation, our Gateway Development Corporation, and I think I'll be able to do that. After all, I'll be working hard to get the money for this, and it's only fair that Orange County and the lower Hudson Valley benefit. Mayor.
Yes. Well, I want to thank the Senator once again for thinking of us here in Orange County and Rockland County and the western portion of the Hudson River District. this is a huge economic development project, not only for Orange County, but for the western part of the Hudson. I know many of us over here, when we want to take a one-stop ride, and we have to go over across the river into Beacon. And so with all the benefits that are there, that this side of the Hudson is going to be such a economic development opportunity for, we have Lynn Sion from the Chamber here, to create these opportunities. And that's all we ask for, is the opportunity to create economic development. And it's a two-way ride too. The tourism industry, I know in Dutchess, flourishes because of the one-stop, the Hudson River line. And I think, especially with the casino up in Sullivan County and the other opportunities for people in Manhattan to come up into Orange County, it's going to be a tremendous benefit. So I know just one little kick at Governor Christie. He blocked the tunnel, he blocked the bridge, and now we're a little bit behind in this project. So, but through the hard work of Senator Schumer, I'm sure it's going to happen in the very near future. So we're very excited about the opportunity, not only the Middletown area, but I think from Rockland all the way up onto the western, along the river, all the way up Sullivan and up. So it's going to be a tremendous boost for us here in Orange County. So thank you, Senator, for all your hard work.
You're up, Lynn.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Schumer, so much. You are a friend to the businesses in Orange County, to the residents of Orange County. And as the Assemblyman said, this is one more example of this. This is a huge boon for us here in Orange County. And as the mayor said, not just one way for us going down, but also coming back. One of the initiatives that's very strong here in Orange County now is our tourism. We have Storm King Art Center, which receives about 100,000 visitors per year. Wouldn't it be wonderful if people would be able to come up here from Manhattan, one ride, not having to drive, not having to cross a river, but just being able to come up and see the beauty of our valley, to take trips with our vineyards. All of the businesses that are here in Orange County would be able to benefit from having an expanded customer base and expanded tourism base. It would help our residents here to be able to get to New York City to do their business. Many of our businesses here have customers in New York City, and it's difficult for them to get to their own customer base. So I want to thank you very much for all of the hard work that you have done for us. We appreciate it very much. As the Assemblyman has said, this is a project that has been in the works for a very long time. A very long time. You can go back through generations of elected officials to see how long this has been and how much work has gone into this. And also from Orange County, we pay a lot in the MTA tax. Yeah. So this would be something that we are receiving something for all of the taxes that we pay. So we thank you very much from the Chamber. Thank you very much.
And both Lynn and the mayor made this great point. This is going to help tourism, a shot in the arm for tourism in Orange County, because people from New York City and tourists who come from all over the world can get on one train ride and come up here. So that's a great opportunity as well. And there's lots to see on the west bank of the Hudson and the west side of the Hudson that they might want to go see, including West Point. Okay, questions?
Clearly this is a tremendous project, but it's been 20 years in the works and it still hasn't happened. What are the hurdles that we've
Well,
experienced
Governor
so far?
Christie pulled the plug. It was about to happen. It would have been mostly built already had he not pulled the plug. And so we had to start all over again, even though all the financing was in place. But what accelerated the need was Sandy, because these tunnels are now rapidly deteriorating. There's salt and chlorine and everything else in there. So what it first entails is getting all the players together, the federal government, Amtrak, New Jersey Path, the governors of New York and New Jersey, the mayor of New York City, all together and coming up with a plan. The Amtrak is already beginning to do the engineering studies. And then second, it's the financing that we have to get, and that's what I'm working on. There's money from Amtrak. Right now, all the profits made in the Northeast Corridor go to subsidize money-losing lines in the rest of the country. We think it should all stay here, and that would give us a big leg up on the financing. And then there's a program called New Starts. New Starts under the transportation bill has built and spent federal money on East Side access, the rivers under the East River, and on the new 2nd Avenue subway. If we can make this tunnel be part of New Starts, it'll give us a lot of federal money as well, and I pledge to work hard for both of those things to happen.
How much would the whole project cost?
We don't know. Well, the whole project's about $14 billion, but building the Secaucus Loop, the extra cost would be a relatively small part of that, in the hundreds of millions. And that's what I will use my clout as a member of the group trying to get this done, to make sure the Secaucus Loop is part of it and that ensures the one-stop ride.
And assuming it was approved today, how long would the construction take?
Oh, well, we're going to have to do it as quickly as possible because these tunnels, they could deteriorate at any time, and if we close down the one or both tunnels, commerce comes to a halt. You know, millions of people come across those tunnels. Let me tell you this, Penn Station, which is at the other end of the tunnels, has 3 times the commuters as LaGuardia, Newark, and Kennedy and Newburgh airports put together.